Hello amazing families, welcome back to our channel. My name is Esther and this is Q-Est Fashion Up. If you're new here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you are so welcome. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this beautiful two-piece. On the thumbnail it's a gown. You can wear it as a gown and also you can wear it as two-piece. So if this sounds like what you're interested in, let's go into it. So the length of my gown, I want it to be 38 inches by the time I'm done sewing. So I added 2 inches to it for the hemming allowance and the joining allowance at the shoulder. Okay, so you're going to fold your akara into two pieces. Whatever fabric you decide to use is left to you. So we are going to use the entire length of this fabric, which is 45 inches. So if you decide to use an akara, you can go ahead and use it. You can use a kampala for it. Okay, so we're going to fold into 2. Watch the way I'm folding. We're going to fold it into 2 and then fold it into 4 like this. Okay, so make sure you arrange it properly and let all the parts meet. So I want you guys to see the entire fabric, the cutting of the entire fabric. That's why I'm cutting on the floor. Okay, so I folded into 4. After that, I'm just going to arrange it properly and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my starting line. Okay, so like I said earlier, I want the entire length of the top to be 38 inches because you can also wear it as a gown. So make sure that that part is folded. Can you see? Is on fold. Okay, so if you're working with the type that you don't want to open the shoulder, you're going to just take your measurement like that. You're not going to open that part. Okay, but for this one I'm going to open the shoulder. Okay, so if you don't want to open the shoulder, it is left with you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my starting line across like this. So all my measurements will be starting from that line. So from there I'm going to go ahead and mark all my measurements. Okay, so I'll mark I'll first mark my bust point, which is 10 inches. I'll mark the half length, which is 16 inches. I'm going to mark the hip line, which is 26 inches, and then I'm also going to mark the full length of the top. It's a top and it's also a gown. Okay, so I'm going to add my sewing allowance to it. So I'm going to go ahead now and draw a straight line across this fabric like you can see me do. So once I'm done connecting all my lines into all my points into a line, okay, I'm laboring that part. Okay, so that's the starting line, my bust points, my half length, the hip line, and then the full length. Okay, so I'm going to come to this starting line and take my neck measurement. So I'm using 3 inches. Okay, but if you're on a plus size, you can use 3.5 or even 4, depending on how wide you want it to be. So I'm going to be using 3 inches for mine. Okay, and then for the back neckline I'm going to use 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to come down by 2 inches and just connect it like this and create my round neckline. Okay, 3 by 2. Okay, now for the front neckline I'm going to be using 7 inches because I'm creating a V neckline. Okay, so I'm just connecting these points together. Okay, so after connecting it together, I'm going to go ahead now and create my neckline. So for the back, I'm going to create a round neckline. Okay, and then the front, I'm going to create a V neckline for it. Okay, so this is my round neckline for the back, and then for the front, I'm going to create a V neckline. So you could do a sharp V like you can see me do, or you can take half an inch inward and then connect it. Can you see? And then connect it to your 3 inches. Okay, can you see me? Can you see what I'm doing? Sorry guys. So can you see? It's either you do a sharp V or you do that type, or you connect this from that 3 inches to meet that 7 inches. I beg your pardon guys. So this is a V-neck, but it's not a sharp V. Okay, can you see? It's not a sharp V. So I'm taking my back measurement divided by 2, which is 7, and then I'm going to add my sleeve length. So I'm using 10 inches for my sleeve length, and then I'm going to add my hemming allowance. I'm going to end up doing a turn up sleeve at this point, but I'm cutting the turn up alongside with the sleeve. Okay, now I added 2.5 inches for the turn up sleeve, which is the hemming allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it this way and then connect into a straight line like this. Okay, so once you are done doing all of that, so this is my neckline, my shoulder line, my sleeve length, and then the hemming allowance. Okay, can you see? So that's where the sleeve length stop, which is 10, and then I added 2.5 inches for my hemming allowance. I'm also going to be using it for the turn up, so I'm going down by 1.5 inches for my shoulder slope. Okay, 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, because I'm going to be opening the shoulder. If you are not opening your shoulder, you don't need to do this. Okay, you need to skip this shoulder slope. Okay, so from the neckline, I'm going to connect to meet with the 1.5 inches that I came down by. Okay, I came down with. So once you're done connecting your shoulder slope, so now we're going to go down from the shoulder slope, not from the starting line. From the shoulder slope, you're going to go down by your, remember that is the bust point, right? Okay, now from your shoulder slope, you're going to go down from the shoulder slope, not from the starting line. From the shoulder slope, you're going to go down by your bust point plus 1 inch. Okay, so my bust point is 10 inches plus 1 is going to give me 11 inches. So that is going to be my sleeve opening, which is the round sleeve. I don't know if you understand. From the shoulder slope, go down by your bust point plus 1. Okay, except you want your sleeve opening to be very wide. If you want it very wide, you can go down by your bust point plus 2 or plus 3. But for this one I went down by my bust point, which is 10 plus 1 inch. Okay, so I went down by it. Okay, so at this point I just mark that bust point. Okay, so I'm just explaining that if you want yours to be more bigger, you can extend the sleeve opening. Okay, at this point you're going to take your bust measurement. So now you can use your bust measurement or your hip measurement. If your hip measurement is bigger than your bust measurement, go ahead and use your hip measurement. But if your bust and your hip is the same, just pick one. So for me, the hip and the bust I'm working with is the same thing, so I just pick my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 5 inches. Okay, my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 5 inches. Okay, that is what I marked there. You can do your bust measurement divided by 4 plus 6 or even 7, depending on how big you want this bubu to look like. Okay, now I went down. If you want this top to have a shape, what you do is come to your waist measurement divided by 4 and add 5 inches also. If you want, and come to your hip measurement divided by 4 and add 5 inches also to it. But for me, I'm going to be making it straight all through. Okay, so my bust divided by 4, cut off my bust plus 5 inches. So whatever I have there, I'm just going to take it to the hem line and mark the same measurement. Please, if you have any question, drop it in the comment section. Okay, I'm going to respond to all of your questions. Thank you. So I'm also marking the same thing here to enable me connect into a straight line. Like I said, if you want yours to have shape, just put your bust measurement divided by 4 plus 5, your waist measurement divided by 4 plus 5, your hip measurement divided by 4, and connect it into a straight line. And if you also want it to have a shape, like if you want it to look like a shape from the bust, just connect it into the part. Like you can see the second line that I drew there. Okay, now for this part, just mark 1.5 inches from that part and then create your armhole curve. Like connect the sleeve into the bodice, or you can use your rule to connect it. But for me, I just use a freehand, so you can mark 1.5 inches and just blend it into the bodice. Okay, so once you're done doing that, I'm explaining that if you don't want to open the upper part, don't bother slanting your shoulder. Don't do all of those shoulder slope and the rest. Just leave it close like that. But if you want to open your shoulder, go ahead and slant it. So we're going to go ahead and cut out now. So I first cut out the back neckline. Okay, after cutting the back neckline, I'm going to cut my shoulder slope. So at this point, I made a mistake. I was supposed to add half an inch to the shoulder for my seam allowance at the shoulder, but I forgot. I already cut before I remember. So please add your sewing allowance to your shoulder. So once I was done, I went ahead to take out one of the piece. After taking out one, so I'm going to go ahead now and cut the front neckline. Okay, so note that if you want your neckline to be V, just do the sharp V. Okay, but for me, I did that curvy V. It's not 100% V. It's going to have a little bit of round shape and a little bit of V. Okay, so this is the front and the back bodies. Now I'm going to cut the facing for the front and the back. Okay, so I just went ahead to fold one of these pieces into two, and then I placed the back panel first. So the facing is the shorter version of your bodies. Okay, so instead of using a lining, you can use a facing, but if you don't want to use a facing, you can use a bias to turn your neckline. Okay, so I'm going to place it this way and just cut out my facing like you can see me do on the screen. Guys, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel because subscription is free. Okay, thank you very much. So I've cut the back facing, so I went ahead to cut the front facing off camera. Okay, please guys, bear with me because I later discovered that this footage came out as portrait instead of landscape. Please just bear with me. Okay, so now this is the cutting of the trouser. So I went ahead to draw my starting line. Okay, after drawing my starting line, so this trouser is going to have a waistband. It's going to have an elastic at the waist, so I went ahead to mark 2 inches for my elastic casing. Okay, so this is like a 2-piece trouser. Yes, it doesn't have one back, one front, one back, one front, which is 4 panel. It's just going to be having just 2 pieces, guys. Yes, so just watch me carefully. So after that, I'm going to place my tape rule at that line that I just drew, which is the 2 inches. So I'm going to divide my crotch. I'm going to mark my crotch depth. Okay, which is 10. Mine is 10. What you do is to divide your hip by 4 and then add 1 inch to it. Okay, divide your hip by 4 and add 1 inch to it. So that is how to get your crotch depth. Or you can sit on a flat surface, measure from your waistline where you want the trouser to be, and then mark it. Let your tape rule touch the flat surface. Okay, you can also get your crotch depth by doing that. Okay, now I'm going to mark the entire length of the trouser. I want my length to be 39 inches. Okay, so I'm going to mark my 39 inches and then I'm going to add 2 inches to my trouser for the hemming allowance. Okay, 2 inches to the hemming allowance. Remember, I'm taking the length of the trouser from that 2 inches already marked for my elastic case, because that 2 inches is going to be folded inside. Okay, so you measure your length from the 2 after you have marked your 2 inches. So you place your tape rule at that 2 inches. Okay, so because this trouser is not going to have a zipper or anything, and it's not going to have a zipper, so you're going to use your hip measurement instead of your waist measurement. So I divided my hip by 4 and I marked it there and I added half an inch to it. So guys, please, I will advise you that you should add 1 inch to it. Okay, because this trouser is not going to be having one front, 2 fronts, 2 backs. It's just going to be having 1, which is 1 is going to serve at the front and back for one leg, and then the other one the same thing for the second leg. So I would advise that you add 1 inch allowance to it. Okay, so you also take your hip divided by 4 plus 1 For me, I use half, but add 1 to your own at that hip crotch depth. Okay, now we're going to impute our crotch extension. So what I did was to divide my crotch depth by 4, and I imputed quarter of it there. Okay, so the crotch depth I worked with is 10. So divided by 4, you're going to have 2.5. So I impute 2.5 there. Okay, for yours it might not be that, but just do your calculation and impute it there. Okay, this has been working for me for years. Okay, divide your crotch depth by 4 and impute quarter of it there. Okay, so I'm just creating my crotch extension right there. So I came down by 3 inches, and then I'm going to impute my thigh measurement. The thigh I'm working with is 22 inches, so half of 22 inches is 11. So I marked it there, then go ahead and add 1 inch to it. I added half an inch, but I will advise you that you add 1 inch to it. 1 inch is just going to be better. So if you take your knee measurement, go ahead and impute your knee measurement and add 1 inch to it too, but I did not do that. So I just came to the M line, which is the ankle. I imputed my measurement, which is 13 divided by 2 is 6.5, and I added my allowance to it, which is half, but you can add 1 inch like I have said. Okay, so impute your ankle measurement divided by 2 plus 1 inch. Okay, so we're just going to connect like this. So I'm cutting both panels together, both front and back. This is just a 2-piece trouser, so I folded my fabric into 4. Okay, into 4. Okay, so I just connected it to meet with that ankle measurement, like you can see me do right here. I'm illustrating that this line is not meant to be straight. Okay, so I'm just using my ruler to show you that it is not meant to be straight. I'm going to be working with the first one I drew with my free hand, but the second one I used my ruler illustrate is not right. Can you see that it should be straight? It should not be straight. It's not meant to be straight. It's meant to be curvy, like you can see, because our leg is not straight. Okay, if you have a hip curve, you can use it to curve your points together. Okay, so I'm going to be working with the first line I drew. Okay, so at this point I'm explaining that if you want to use a band for your trouser, you can raise the back crotch by either 1.5 or even 2 inches, depending on the size you're working for. Okay, if you are on a medium size, you can use a 1.5 for that to raise the back crotch. Okay, can you see what I'm saying? So I said I folded my fabric into 4 because the trouser is not going to be one front, 2 back, but it's just going to be 2 pieces. It means I'm cutting the front and the back together for one, front and back together for the second leg. So it's not going to be heavy side joining allowance. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So by the time I'm done cutting, you're going to just understand what I'm doing. So I'm going to cut my line following the first line I drew. Make sure you are cutting behind your line. So I'm cutting 2 pieces first. 2 pieces, which is the ones that are on top, which is going to be serving as the 2 front. Okay, 2 front. Okay, so now we're going to be cutting the back because we will modify the back crotch at this point. So what you're going to do is to extend the crotch line at the back. Okay, extend it. Okay, so for me, what I did there was to extend my, can you see, I'm just tracing that back, the front that I already cut out. So I extended my crotch by just 1 inch. Okay, but you can extend yours by 1.5 or 2 inches. Okay, so I will advise you to extend yours by 2 inches. So this is my first time of actually trying this method for a trouser like this, and it really came out nice. So what you're going to do is to extend that crotch line by 2 inches. Okay, extend it by 2 inches. If you're on a plus side, you can extend it by either 2.5 or 3 inches. Hope it is clear. So now just draw it like this. Okay, now from the upper part, I did not add any allowance to it. I just traced what the front is. So I went down by half an inch by that point so that the crotch just sit properly. So I'm going to blend it and blend it in to the back pan, the front panel. Can you see? I'm blending it in. But guys, please note, if you want a little bit of allowance inside your trouser, what you're going to do is to that extension that you did, just extend your entire length by 1 inch all the way to the hemline. Don't just blend it in, okay? This will work perfectly when you are sewing a very stretchy material, but it works for me. But I will advise you so that you can have a little bit of ease and allowance inside your trouser. So from that extension that you made, just extend it all the way to the hem by 1 inch. Don't blend it in like I blended my own in. I don't know if you understand. So at that point, I just added 1 inches to it. Okay, so I'm explaining that if you are using a band, you can raise the crotch, the back crotch, by either 1.5 or 1 or even 2, depending on the size you are working for. But I did not raise it because we are cutting the band, which is the elastic case, alongside with the trouser. So if you add it to it, it's going to be difficult for you to hem it, to fold the elastic case. Okay, so I did not add it, and it came out very well, perfectly. Okay, so I'm just going to cut both the front and the back crotch the same way. It's going to be straight. I did not slant it, I did not do any adjustment there, so I'm just cutting it straight. So you could add 1 inch to that back. Okay, I did not add to my own, but add it. Okay, just add it to play safe. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and cut along like that all the way to the hem. Okay, so this is what we have. So the back is a little bit bigger than the front, so this part I am marking is the back for both side, back, and then this is the front. Okay, so now you know normally your trouser is meant to be 4, 1 front, 2 front, 2 back, but this one is just 2 pieces. Okay, 2 pieces. One is going to be serving as front and back. The second one is going to be serving as front and back for the second leg. Okay, this is what we have. Okay, please, if you have any question, guys, please drop it on the comment section. If there is any part that is not clear, let me know in the comment section. And if you want me to do another tutorial on the trouser alone so that you can understand it very well, please let me also know in the comment section. Thank you, guys. So at this point, I'm folding it so you guys can see how it's going to look. Okay, so I went ahead to use my chalk to mark the back panel so we don't get confused when we are sewing. Okay, now we are going to move to the sewing of the 2-piece. Okay, so this is the back panel. I already cut out the facing like I said earlier, so I'm going to use the facing to turn the neckline. Like I'm going to place it right side facing right side and turn my neckline, and then I'm going to notch and flip the allowance to the side of the facing and top stitch. If you have been following my channel, you should understand what I mean by top stitching. So this is the front panel also, and I've also cut a facing for it. So you're going to also do the same thing. Place the right side facing right side. You're going to use 1/2 inch to stitch around the neckline, and then notch, flip the allowance to the side of the facing and also top stitch. Okay, so this is the trouser. Can you see? This is the back part that I already used my chalk to mark. So you're going to place it right side facing right side. Let the 2 back side face each other and the 2 front side face each other, which is the crotch side. Okay, can you see? You're going to sew 1/2 inch around that crotch region, half, and we're going to join the other parts with half also. So at this point, I was done joining the neckline, turning my neckline with my I've joined the crotch for the trouser. Can you see? And then I also went ahead to iron the hemming allowance 1/2 inch, and then I folded 1.5 inches for the hemming allowance of the trouser, and then the elastic case also I also folded 1/2 inch, and then I folded 1.5 inches and I ironed it properly. Okay, so this is what we have for the trouser. I've joined the crotch together, so I'm going to go ahead now and stitch this hemming allowance. Okay, this trouser is so easy to make, to cut and to make. Okay, so I'm going to stitch around the hemming allowance, and then the elastic case I'm going to stitch it and then leave 2 inches opening for the passing of my elastic. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing to the second leg also. I'm going to hem the second leg. So once I'm done, guys, I'm going to now close the inseam. Can you see, with 1/2 inch, like you can see me illustrating on your screen. Please don't forget to like this video and give it a huge thumbs up. Okay, so this is the front panel. I've gone ahead to stitch the neckline. Can you see it's like a U neckline? It's not 100% V and it's not 100% round. So after stitching, I flipped the I notched and I flipped the allowance to the side of the facing and I top stitch. Okay, I top stitch on it. Okay, so the top stitch just help the facing to relax properly even without ironing. Can you see what the neckline is looking like? Okay, so now I did the same thing to the back neckline. I used my facing to turn the neckline, I notched and then I flipped the allowance to the side of the facing. Okay, and I top stitch. Okay, so at this point we are going to go ahead and join our shoulder. Okay, what you're going to do is to put both of them together and open one of it like this. Then you're going to just use one of the facing to wrap it and then you're going to stitch alongside that shoulder. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the second one. Arrange it properly, open one and then just use this facing to wrap it and then you're going to stitch it. So guys, at this point I was done hemming the trousers. Can you see? And then I went ahead to also hem the elastic casing and I left 2 inches opening where I'm going to be passing my elastic. Now this is the elastic I'm going to be using. It is 1 inch elastic. Now what you're going to do, how to get your elastic, is to subtract 5 inches from your actual waist measurement and then that's going to give you your elastic length. Okay, so for me, my waist is 30. I subtracted 5 inches from it and it gave me 25. So the elastic is 25 inches by 1 inch. So I'm just going to pass in my elastic inside the elastic casing using my safety pin. Okay, so at this point I was done passing. So after passing, I'm just going to secure it down like this and then close the opening at that point, the 2 inches opening that I left. Okay, so now for the top, I have joined the shoulder. Okay, can you see how neat it is? I've joined both shoulders. Now the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and hem. So I have folded 1/2 inch and then 2 inch. Remember I added 2.5 inches when I was cutting for my sleeve, for my hemming and my turn up sleeve. So I have folded 1/2 inch and then I fold 2 inch. Okay, so guys, the video I uploaded before this one, I taught 3 ways of how you can do your turn over sleeve or turn up sleeve. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to link it in the description box. So at this point I was done stitching my elastic in place and then I stitch like 2 different lines. I've closed the 2 different lines on top of the elastic. Okay, and then I also put a label at the back to indicate the back. Okay, so if you don't have a label, you can cut a pieces, you can just cut anything to indicate that this is the back of the trousers. Okay, so I've hemmed the lower part, hemmed the sleeve also. Okay, so now for the turnover sleeve, what I did now, how to do this turnover sleeve, after you have hemmed it like this into straight like this, iron it, and then you're going to open the hemming allowance which you have hemmed. Can you see how straight it is? Okay guys, now you're going to open the hemming allowance like this, open it into 2 equal parts, let that seam allowance guide you. You're going to open it into 2, share it evenly and then iron it down. I don't know if you understand guys. Can you see? So you're going to have half of it overlapping the sleeve. I don't know if you understand. Please, if you don't understand, let me know in the comment section. I have a detailed video on how to do turnover sleeve already, turn up sleeve, 3 ways you can do it already. So I will link it in the description box. So once you're done, you do the same thing to the second one. So now I'm explaining the second one again. After hemming, just share it evenly, the allowance, share it evenly. Can you see? And then iron it. Can you see? Iron it on top like this, and then you are going to tack it down in the middle. Okay, so once you're done doing that, we are going to go ahead and close the side by 1 inch. Okay, we are going to close the side by 1 inch. Okay, so this is the rope that I'm going to be using for my drawstring at the side. So the rope is measuring I cut 1.5 inches for the piece that I used, 1.5 inches, and the length is 88 okay, 88. So you could reduce it, but I later discovered that it is too long, so you can reduce it to like 70 instead of 88 or 75. So you're going to fold half inch and fold another half inch, and then you're going to stitch on top, okay? Or you can fold this into two and then stitch on it, and then use your safety pin to turn it inside out. But I did the second one, which is folding half, fold another half, and then stitch on it. In that way you don't need to turn it inside out. So now I've passed one of the sleeve, one of the drawstring. Let me explain how I did it, okay? Now from the armhole, from the curve where you connect your sleeve to your bodice, measure 4 inches, okay? 4 inches, and then we're going to create a notch, okay? You measure 4 inches from the armhole, can you see? And then you're going to create a curve. Can you see now? After notching from that 4 inch, you're going to fold 1/4 of an inch inward, and then you're going to stitch all the way to the hem, 1/4 of an inch to the other side, and then stitch all the way. So because we are trying to create the opening for the drawstring, the channel for the drawstring, okay? So we stitch all the way to the hem, or you can cut a pieces that is measuring 3 inches, and then the length should be able to go from that 4 inches all the way to the full length. And then you're going to fold half an inch, fold another half an inch, and place it on top, and then stitch on both sides. And then after stitching on both sides, you're now going to divide it into two. But I feel it is not necessary, since you already have 1 inch on both sides. Just fold 1/4 of an inch in and stitch it all the way to the hem, fold the other part and stitch it all the way to the hem. You're going to have your drawstring channel, okay? So you're going to, with your safety pin, just put your safety pin inside it like this, and then you're going to pass it inside the elastic casing like this. Can you see, guys? So we are doing this from the inside, okay? We are passing it inside, okay? So when you get to that 4 inches that you notch, where the channel starts from, so you're going to pull it out like this, okay? Once you pull it out, you're now going to pass it into the second channel like this all the way, okay? Pass it like this. Once you're done passing, you're going to bring it out at the second part. So now you're going to now adjust both like this and make sure that the length is equal on both sides. Can you see what I'm doing, guys? Please, if you like this video, subscribe. I love you guys. So you're going to pass it like this, and then this is what we have. Can you see? So this can be worn as a gown and as a two-piece, which is trouser and a top. Can you see? This is the final look. If you love this video, subscribe and don't forget to turn on your notification bell. My name is Esther and this is Q-Est Fashion Up. Don't stop learning, keep learning, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Can you see? This is two-piece, and then you can see me also wearing it as a gown. I love you guys. See you guys in the next one. Bye.